Number 6, Bobby Cox.
Some of my favorite stories. People ask me all the time, what's Bobby like? You know, I mean, what's your favorite ejection?
Oh, yeah.
It was
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
by far.
Go ahead, Chip.
Booney is a play at third, and he slides in safe, but comes off the bat, all right? I keep the tag on him, and Hunter Wendelstedt calls him safe, right?
And came in pointing.
He saw it and comes in pointing. Somehow or another,
Hunter steps on my foot.
they got tangled up, all right? And bumped. Smoltzy gone.
Smoltz argued, and that's not Boone being called out. That's Smoltz being tossed out.
So Skipper comes waddling out.
I got to figure that Bobby Cox has got to be some kind of hot, not only at the call at third base, but the fact that John Smoltz got the thumb, and quick.
He gets an explanation from Hunter, and Hunter said, he bumped me. And Skipper, I'll never forget it. He goes, oh, Hunter, you wouldn't make a pimple on your daddy's you know? And at that point, Bobby got tossed, and the whole time, Smoltzy was already tossed, right? Yeah. And Coxie comes out and he says, you're not tossed, you get up on that mound. Smoltzy comes up, he's standing on the mound like a little kid, like he doesn't know what to do.
I stood on the mound and Randy Marsh came over and said, John, you know I have to leave. I said, I'm not leaving. My manager said I'm standing on the mound.
No, I told him. I said,
I'm not leaving.
I
said, you can reverse. I said, you can reverse this.
The game.
Oh, it was so funny.
And we will be reminiscing on moments like that all season long here on Braves Vision. Again, we're thinking of Bobby Cox and the Cox family today. Bobby, his birthday, would have turned 85 years old. And CJ, that was an all-timer going back to July of '98, man. That was priceless.
It was a great story, and listening to the guys talk about it and the passion in which they talked about it, I think the other part of that, too, is that it brings us back to what we all know about Bobby Cox, and that was that he had his players' backs no matter what it took to make it happen, and that was a great example, and a funny one at that, back in 1998.
Yeah, by the way, the Braves were trailing when he got tossed. They went on to win that game 11-5.
Nice, there you go. That'd be a good little thing to figure out. Win-loss record in the 162 games that Bobby was ejected from.
We'll get research on it. Joe Mack, he's going to need a trainer. We'll take this opportunity here to take a look at the lineup for the Braves. Brought to you by Racetrack. Top 5 spots in the order, no changes. Ha-Seong Kim and Chadwick Trump starting tonight after getting the day off yesterday. And looks like Joe Mack was at least prepared. Hand.
That looked like it caught his throwing hand for sure, and now it's going to be a matter of how significant and can he grip a baseball. He seems pretty concerned. Let's take a look at this here. As the first pitch of the game is that two-seam fastball, the sinker that you get from Sandy Alcantara. And you see how his hand is hanging out there. Always wondered about that, and you don't really see guys put their hands, behind their backs anymore. I feel like it sits more outside the body than it did where Joe Mack had it. But that got him square. Ooh, right on the knuckles.
Well, in some cases, CJ, it might be hard to believe, but probably better than the hand than the alternative, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he does have a protective cup behind that hand. Oof. Well,
yep.
He just said it OS as he threw that ball that he launched into the outfield, and he just did it again.
Oh, wow.
So he just threw 2 balls about, 15, 20 feet to the left of his third baseman right there. Yeah, I get him out. That's 3 out of 4 that were not right. So, listen, here's the other part of this. You're watching this right now and you're the Braves. First guy that gets on, I'm taking off.
100%.
This is like, showing somebody your scouting report.
Yeah, and Javier Sanoja's having to jump all over the place to receive these throws.
I mean, and he's doing it. He's reacting. He's like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe that's happening right now. But that I would be really concerned right now if I'm Clayton McCullough. It sounds like he's trying to talk himself out of staying into this game. But based on that throwing that I just saw, I want him out if I'm Clayton McCullough.
Well, he's going to stay in. And to your point, Siege, it'll be interesting when the Braves get a runner on base if they try and test Joe Mack's arm. So an odd beginning tonight, but that is Sandy Alcantara making his 11th start of the season. And CJ, he's gotten deep in games so far this year.
Yeah, he is still pitching like an ace in the sense that he can get you deep in games, gives you a chance to win. The strikeouts aren't there. As it stands right now, lowest strikeout rate of his career. And he has never been a big-time strikeout pitcher, right? He's always been this guy with a big fastball, but he pitches a little bit more to contact than he does to the swing and miss. But he's been one of the better ones in the game.
Ahead on Ronald 0-2. All right, CJ, series finale flying home tonight. What are your 4 keys?
We got to go line to line here tonight. That's for the offense. Sandy Alcantara has not allowed a home run in his last few starts. He hasn't allowed very many this year. So the idea of going line to line, I think would be a pretty good idea. And how about riding high here for Spencer Strider? That fastball his last 2 starts has looked really good. It has played up in the zone extremely well. And so we hope that he'll be riding high here tonight with that good 4-seam heater.
1-2, bounced up the middle. Chance for Lopez. And Ronald beats it out. I think that hamstring's looking okay.
I would agree. He does a nice job legging this one out. Again, it's the 2-seam fastball that you get from Sandy Alcantara. And even though it's high velocity, it is a contact pitch, and he gets a lot of ground balls with it. And then maybe there was just a slight hesitation or an issue on the exchange that allowed Ronald that extra half a step to beat this thing out.
Marlins opt not to review it. And now Michael Harris with Acuna aboard at first. For what it's worth, Ronald 7 for 11 in stolen bases.
And Alcantara's already given up 7 himself this year, 7 for 8 against him. And I mean, I don't know. For me, I tested after what I just saw with that foul tip with Joe Mack and the way that he was throwing the ball. I want to see it. I want to see him throw down to second. I think it's worth probably putting a little bit of pressure on him.
Ball and 2 strikes on Harris, who pretty good numbers against Sandy Alcantara in his career, 6 for 18. Ronald, by the way, with that hit, hitting a clean .333 against Alcantara. 8 pitches so far for Sandy Alcantara, 6 swings for Atlanta. They've been aggressive.
The way that Morel stands over there at first base is pretty unusual. Now, it's not odd that he stands off the bag, right? And he is a right-handed thrower, and so it does make some sense that we see. But it's where he actually puts his glove that looks kind of strange to me, right? It looks unnatural.
1-2, and Harris hoists it high but foul. Braves coming off a 9-1 win last night, taking the 3rd game of this series. They have a chance to win this 4-game series if they can win tonight. And Michael Harris rocks one deep center. That ball is in and over the wall. Michael Harris, the 2-run homer off of Alcantara, and the Braves get the party started early.
Well, like I said, Wiley, Sandy Alcantara doesn't give up a lot of home runs, so the Braves might want to think line drives. Michael Harris not having it. And this was an absolute missile over the wall in right center field.
10th homer of the year for Michael, 2nd this series.
So he had gone 5 straight games, 24 1/3 innings without giving up a homer. And he goes here to Michael, and you can see the elevation on the changeup. He wants that pitch down. It catches the middle of the plate, slightly elevated, and Michael just whacks it.
And for Sandy, as you said, CJ, that was over 28 consecutive innings without allowing a homer. That streak is snapped. Braves, it's the first time they've scored first beg your pardon, the second time they've scored first in this series, but they've had to come from behind in both of their wins so far in this series. See if they can go wire to wire tonight. Matt Olson entering play today, 42 RBI. That is tied for the major league lead. And Ole caught looking.
He's looking back. He's thinking about it, but probably a good decision.
Let's take a look at the Marlins defense, brought to you by Car Shield. Kyle Stowers back in left field, as is Jacob Marcy. Owen Casey subbed in there late last night. Then on the infield, Javier Sanoja played everywhere. He's now at third. And then Joe Mack behind the plate with that less than 100% right finger.
So check out this pitch here. This is nasty from Sandy Alcantara to Matt Olson. I mean, look at the movement on that 98-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball. And it was really close, and I think Matty probably made the right choice. But it's also interesting to look at their history. You know, Matt Olson came in today just 2 for 25 against Sandy Alcantara with 9 strikeouts. Make it 10 now. And even though he's not a big-time strikeout pitcher, there are just certain guys you struggle with.
And Ozzie Albies trying to split the gap here, and that'll bloop in for a base hit. And C.J. Ozzie is quite the opposite. He now has 16 hits off of Sandy Alcantara. No other hitter that has faced Alcantara has more.
5 doubles, 3 home runs in his career. He adds another single now to the group. Now this pitch showed up as a 4-seam fastball. I don't think it was. That looked like a cutter to me at 92. And that's one thing that we were told here about Sandy Alcantara, the way that some of the pitches get classified, is that there's a lot of crossover, that sometimes they're going to be a little inconsistent. And Christopher Morel's having the time of his life right now over at first base. First with Ronald over there having a good time. Now he's been goofing around with Ozzie. He is not a regular first baseman. This is the first year in which he has actually played some first base, and this is just his 9th start over there.
And Dom Smith back through the box. Lopez gets the out at second, on to first, and that's an inning-ending double play. But Money Mike cashes in early, his 10th home run of the season. A low liner for Money Mike. Spencer Strider making his 4th start of the season, coming off that oblique injury, and the last 2 have been lights out against the Dodgers and the Red Sox. And better yet, he is spotted to a 2-run lead as he takes the mound tonight here at Lone Depot Park. CJ, what have you liked from Spencer these last couple of times out?
Certainly like seeing 12 strikeouts to 5 walks over those last 2. As you can see there, 3 starts overall, and still really good numbers, right? I think for Spencer Strider, the 5 walks is an area that he probably would like to see improve, but it's been good. I mean, the name of the game is ultimately not allowing runs and giving your team an opportunity to win a game.
Xavier Edwards climbs in first. Look at the Marlins lineup, brought to you by Racetrack. That is 5 left-handed hitters, not including Edwards, who bats on the left side here. I know it's early in the season, but so far Spencer's had some success against lefties.
He certainly has. Just a 129 batting average against those lefties. The strikeout rate really high for him. 35% of lefties he has punched out so far in those first 3 starts.
Edwards hacks at the 2-0 and fouls it out of play. A little throwback Marlins there. The men of teal. You know, Xavier Edwards, he's tied for 2nd in Major League Baseball with 59 hits. Top 10 in batting average and on base percentage. Only guy with more hits than him is his double play partner, Otto Lopez, who's batting 3rd tonight. Well struck, and on one hop, that's into center field. So leadoff knock for Xavier Edwards. And let's take a look at the defense for the Braves, brought to you by Car Shield. Same outfield as last night. Good to see Ronald Acuna Jr. back out there for the second day in a row. And Hassan Kim plugs back into short, and Chadwick Tromp makes his first start since being recalled on Tuesday. Now Liam Hicks.
We'll see whether or not the Marlins try to test Spencer Strider and Chadwick Tromp. Right now it's a completely different catching core here with Sandy Leon and Tromp back there. 2 stolen bases against Strider so far this year, 2 for 4. But we know this Marlins team is one of the most aggressive in the game.
Yeah, the Marlins lead Major League Baseball in stolen bases. Now they have not attempted a steal down by more than 3 runs this year. And Liam Hicks drives it deep to right. Acuna gives chase, and he runs it down just in front of the Braves bullpen. And that is a long first out.
It didn't sound great off the bat, but it kept carrying. And we try to read the ball. We also try to read Ronald. And I was watching Ronald more on that one than I was the ball. And it looked like he got maybe a little bit turned around. But you watch this at first, you think it's gone. But he did a really nice job finding the wall, getting turned the right way, and then making the catch. I got teaked on that one a little bit.
That makes 2 of us. Nice stop there by Chadwick Tromp behind the plate. 1-0 on Otto Lopez, who oddly enough went 0 for 4 in the Marlins win on Monday night. 12-0 win for Miami. But in the 2 Braves wins since, Lopez 5 for 8. And he sends a ground ball out to Ozzie. Taylor-made double play. Kim gets one on to Olsen, and that is an inning-ending double play for Spencer Strider. Braves with an early lead at South Beach. Well, Braves with a 2-0 lead, off to a strong start. We got even better news as we go to the top of the second. We are joined by Chris Sale here on Braves Vision. And Chris, I know you haven't faced the Marlins very often, but was there a party that was excited to check that box and get that win over Miami?
Yeah, I didn't know I sucked so bad against them. So yeah, that was it was nice to kind of break the ice there last night.
Yeah, I love your version of sucked. I think the rest of us would take it in our careers if we could get it. But thinking about something that Tom Glavine has always talked about, I'm curious what this looks like for you. The day after a good start, right? You come in, you get your work in, you get to watch a big league ball game. He always called it a dig me day. What's a dig me day like for Chris Sale?
Not too many of those. I enjoy coming out here, and you got the best seat in the house for Major League Baseball games. So I go for a run, I get all my work done, play some catch, and then I'm just a fan from there on out.
So yesterday's ball game in particular, that first inning when Hernandez had hit that sacrifice kind of line drive, you had some expression to you. It looked like it kind of got under your skin a little bit. It's one of our favorite parts of watching your intensity, and you look like you took it to another level and went on a pretty big roll. Tell us about those emotional moments, what they're like for you, and kind of what your thought process is to have that controlled aggression.
Yeah, just basically trying to get myself to lock back in. I was talking with Hef after that inning, and it just seemed like I was getting to 2 strikes, and it seemed like my early in the count pitches were better than my 2-strike pitches. And I always say, I use the expression overcooked. It's like I'm trying to overcook this slider. It's like I'm trying to make it, the nastiest slider I've ever thrown, and it ends up kind of spinning out and like kind of leaking arm side. So, it seemed like an 0-0 breaking ball. I'm finishing it. Uh-oh.
Let's hear the home run call, Chris. And it's gone.
Finally, every time I get on this thing, it's a quick inning. So I'm glad I broke that ice too. Might be something about this trip to Miami.
Mike Yastrzemski with another home run after a huge homestand. Chris, what is Yaz like in the clubhouse? I mean, just hit a big homer and a new addition this year.
He's been awesome. He brings a lot of energy. Obviously a true pro, runs in the bloodline. So he's been awesome. Same guy every day, no matter what. So
So you've been around a couple of different rosters. One thing we talk about all the time here with the Braves is that Alex Anthopoulos, they make sure they bring good people into the clubhouse. Certainly you're one of those guys. Yaz is one of those guys. Is that something that you've noticed over your 3 years here as far as the quality of teammate that you've been surrounded with?
For sure. I think that it shows in the clubhouse, in the dugout, but certainly on the field. You know, we're a tight-knit group. We all have a good time together, and I think, you know, when you can have fun with each other, you trust each other more, and when you trust each other more, you're you know, it just the cohesiveness just works better. You know, I watch these guys in between innings. It's, you know, like Ozzie and Ole are like big brother, little brother. They're always, you know, yapping at each other, messing with each other. But when it's time to lock in, you know, you obviously see what we can do. So, you know, when you have a bunch of guys that really care about each other and, you know, we're all on the same page, you know, the one thing I've heard a lot is there's no egos in this clubhouse, and that just makes it a lot easier to just go out and, you know, do your part. There's 26 guys with a role. There's no this, there's no that. It's just go play baseball, do your job, and find a way to get it done.
Something we talk about a lot on the broadcast is the impact that you have on everybody else. We point out the younger starters, and we think about guys like Spencer Schwellenbach and now J.R. Ritchie and the impact that's going to be for the length of their career because they got to play with you. Martin Perez also seems to be that guy a little bit. How cool is it to have another veteran like that where you guys seem to be step in step as far as you're good, but you're also trying to make the guys around you better?
Absolutely. I think, you know, I think Martin would say this too. You know, I was very fortunate to have great veterans when I was a kid, and I leaned on them hard. I was, you know, I almost copied him to a T at times. And, you know, you see a guy like Martin who's, you know, he's got, what, 15 years in the big leagues. He's, you know, he's kind of seen and done it all, been to all-star games and stuff like that, been to the playoffs. And, you know, a guy like him and what he's done in his career, the willingness that he's had to do basically any and every role. You know, you've seen him make unbelievable starts. You've seen him come out of the bullpen. You know, being able to bounce back and forth like that, and you know, just having a true pro like that being in our clubhouse. You know, again, goes back to what I said earlier: is there's no ego. There's, you know, 26 guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to win baseball games. And when you have young guys see, like, okay, well, when I get 15 years in the big leagues, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's going to do a heck of a lot for you.
Chris, appreciate you sharing that. As we get towards the end of this inning, possibly quickly, what's your favorite thing to do in Miami here on the road days you're not pitching?
Oh, I've been throwing kids around in the pool for the last couple of days. This isn't too far from my home in the off season. So my wife and my 3 boys came down for the trip, and yeah, when I'm not pitching, obviously on pitch day I'm not, you know, down there in the sun or in the pool or anything. But this morning we were down there throwing some boys around in the pool and just hanging out, just spending time, you know, grabbing breakfast, stuff like that. So, you know, we're on the road a lot. We're gone a lot. My kids are, you know, still in sports, playing, you know, they're still in school, finishing up sports. So, you know, any time I can spend with them is important.
So as they're playing sports and they're getting a little bit older, is any Chris Sale coaching going on yet?
A little bit at home. You know, when it's season time, I try to just show up and be a dad. I enjoy sitting in the stands, watch my kids play baseball. You know, kind of disconnecting from, you know, being a coach. I mean, there can be some blurred lines there, but I enjoy just showing up and cheering. I've had parents ask me, like, how are you not freaking out? I'm like, you know, I don't. My kids don't need to see me freaking out when they're 9 years old, you know, throwing balls and strikes. So I just want them to have fun and play hard.
Well, yeah, that's Chris, awesome, man. Keep setting that great example, because you're right. There are some psychos out there for sure with parents. So guys like you setting that good example, no doubt, will go a long way.
Just let the kids have fun. You know, when they start getting into high school, that's when it's time to kind of turn it on. But, you know, when they're young, you need to make it fun, because when you make it fun, that's when they fall in love with it. And when you fall in love with something, it's easier to go through those grinder days. So, you know, parents out there, ease up a little bit.
Well, Chris, keep doing what you're doing. We love watching you, and thanks again for the time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Mike Yastrzemski's homer binge continues here tonight. His 3rd home run in the last 9 games for Yaz. As he piles on, he is our Zaxby's Who's Got the Sauce, and CJ, a low liner
Yeah, impressive from Mike Yastrzemski, who has been swinging a really good bat. He did it against the slider there. He had a home run previously against Sandy Alcantara, so make it another one now, 5 for 19 in his career with 2 home runs.
So Spencer Strider back to work. Just a 10-pitch inning in the first. And he faces Kyle Stowers. And speaking of home runs, CJ, how about the season Kyle Stowers had last year? He had 25 home runs. And keep in mind, his season ended in mid-August due to an oblique injury. This year, just 1.
Yeah, so he has not been able to recover, obviously, the way that he has wanted to. And it felt like for the Marlins, they had a guy, right? As they are going through a lot of these position players that they are acquiring, many of them, of course, via trade. There'll be a couple of waiver claims here and there, but they're looking for their identifiable pieces that'll be part of this core going forward. And you got very excited about what you saw from Stowers last year. Now it becomes about, was this a little bit of a slow start? Was that more of a mirage last year? Is it somewhere in between? That's what they're trying to figure out right now.
And Strider beats him with the changeup. First strikeout for Spencer tonight.
Good looking pitch here from Spencer Strider. Maybe not the location that he wanted on the changeup, but it really is about that speed differential, and you'll take him any way that you can get him.
And now Jacob Marcy drops down a bunt. Riley charging. Bare hand. Got him. What a play by Austin Riley.
They may challenge this. We'll see either way. It was a great play by Austin Riley. He gave it everything he has. Marcy can flat out run. No, they're not going to challenge. Wow, that is impressive. I thought that Marcy might have beaten it, but I'm wrong here. How about the bare hand on the run? And then, of course, what we talk about so often, the throw's got to be on the money here. If that throw is a little bit left, a little bit right, high, low, whatever it is, if it's not on the mark, Marcy is probably safe.
You might have seen a little bit of tape on Austin's right hand. I had a chance to ask him about that a couple of days ago, saying it happened. He kind of scraped himself while sliding last week. So nothing structurally wrong there, just a little bit of a raw spot.
Oh.
There goes the bat. Look out into the camera well. You okay down there, fellas? Looks like it.
Well, that's amazing that the cameraman right there has a small little net. And obviously that's probably from experience, and they realized that they needed one there. So you get some good protection. Designed for baseballs, but every once in a while a bat might come flying your way too.
John Tuitu down there.
That's I can appreciate that work right there. That is a nice piece of homemade net. Get yourself some PVC corners there. Got a nice little clamp to put it on the camera. It's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. That's a fun home project.
You want to talk about investing in yourself in your future?
Yeah.
John Tuitu doing it right there. Christopher Morel at the plate, and he has been fighting it recently. 3 for his last 35, and just 1 walk in that time. And full count on the 26-year-old from the Dominican Republic.
We got some gremlins in the internet here at Lone Depot Park.
Spencer Strider climbs the ladder in 97, sits down Christopher Morel. All right, we got to take a look at the highlight of the inning there. Bat helicoptering towards John Tuitu. Look out!
Oh, it still got him, didn't it? No.
Yeah, and this is his camera.
Keep working, keep grinding, follow it. Where is it? It's at your feet.
Ronald leading off the top of the 3rd inning. First pitch swing. Edwards out. He'll be called off by Casey. And there's 1 down. Well, it's time for our Home Depot working on a win feature. And prior to that fly out there from Ronald Acuna, those are the numbers from the Braves 1, 2, and 4 spots tonight.
You think the way this lineup was set up tonight, I had wondered about maybe sliding Ozzie to the 2-hole because of all the success that he has had against Sandy Alcantara, but it worked out really well with Michael in the 2 spot hitting the home run. But all 3 of those guys have done some pretty significant damage against Sandy Alcantara over the years.
Yeah, Michael individually now is 7 for 19 with 2 home runs off of Alcantara. We were talking about this before the game, CJ, but you look at, Sandy really since the start of the second half last year, he's pitched to about a 3.4, 3.5 ERA. Marlins hoping he can reestablish the value he had as a trade asset before the arm injury. Of course, Alcantara missing all of 2024 after undergoing Tommy John surgery. Bouncer right side. This is Edwards. And that's the second out.
Tell you what, that front door 2-seam fastball is pretty nasty. Very similar to the one that he struck out Matt Olson on to lefties. If he can get it there with some consistency, let's see where the Braves lefties would have a hard time.
Feels like Matt Olson's had a lot of pitchers' numbers over the course of his career, but you touched on his last at bat. Sandy has gotten the better of Matt so far. But a couple of home runs from Atlanta so far tonight. Michael Harris 2-run shot, then Yaz with his 3rd. Thirty-year-old Sandy Alcantara.
He's trying to backdoor that sweeper and having a hard time getting it there. That's kind of new to the arsenal here for Sandy Alcantara. I've seen more than a couple of pitchers on this staff. It seems to be a favorite of the Marlins organization and trying to get as many of their pitchers as they can to throw it.
I was looking at some comments that Sandy had before the season began about that sweeper, CJ, and he mentioned he felt like everything he was throwing was pretty hard. He needed a pitch that was just a little softer and that broke more. And prior to that sweeper, he really didn't have a pitch that broke a lot to the glove side.
I think it makes some sense, especially because he's more of a contact pitcher, despite the fact that he has higher velocity, right? I mean, we've watched Spencer Strider. We've pretty much watched Chris Sale, for the most part, dominate with 2 pitches. Yeah, there's a 3rd pitch in there with a changeup for Sale and a 2-seamer for his 4th, but it is pretty much 1 and 2 fastball slider. Same thing for Spencer Strider, but there is something about if you can get it there. If you don't like the swings that are happening against you, if you can mix in that slower breaking ball that you can bury down and in, or the times that he's been trying to throw it backdoor to the lefties, yeah, it's a great weapon to have.
Next pitch coming up for Sandy is 50. The Braves have fouled off 19 so far. And Matt Olson pops this one up. Left side of the mound. And Max got it. 1, 2, 3, top of the 3rd for Sandy Alcantara. So far, the Braves have gotten off on the right foot here in the series finale against the Marlins. Let's go down to the dugout and visit with Nick Green.
Yeah, Wiley, speaking of Spencer Strider, we know his last 2 starts have been really good. You kind of throw that start out in Denver out the window. And he said after that start in Denver, he was disappointed in himself because he didn't compete inside the zone as well as he had liked to. Well, these last 2 starts.
And Owen Casey deep drive to right. And the Marlins are on the board. Owen Casey, he's got a lot of swing and miss, but he's also got a lot of juice. And that's one of the reasons the Marlins wanted to trade for him before the season began.
.95 miles an hour here on the fastball from Spencer Strider. It also had some pretty good vert, 19 inches on that one, meaning it had good ride. This is impressive from Casey. These are not easy fastballs to square up and get out of here the way that he just did. 403 feet.
So here's Joe Mack. And Greeny, I know how you feel right now. That's happened to me a number of times.
Well, speaking about competing inside the strike zone, and he wants to do that a little bit more. The last 2 starts, the velocity has been up, so he has a tendency to compete better inside the zone with the fastball. But as far as the secondary pitches are concerned, he's much more comfortable this year with those pitches. So you're going to see him, and Walt Weiss mentioned this in his pregame scrum. If the fastball is a little bit off, look for that secondary stuff to kind of pick that up.
It makes sense, right? He is not allowed to hit on his slider yet. He is not allowed to hit on his changeup yet this year. Now, there was a hit earlier today on a curveball. He had allowed one other hit on a curveball coming into this one. His secondaries really haven't been touched at all.
And I think that's been the consistent message for Spencer since the start of spring training. I remember going down to Northport, and he talked about there have been previous seasons where he was really focused on shape and mechanics and velocity, and not that he wasn't paying attention to those, but every time he got in a game, even if it was a spring training game, it was 2 innings, he was focused on, I'm going to be in the strike zone.
That's where it's at, and you got to be able to get outs in the strike zone, and certainly he has over the course of his career, which is probably why when we watched that Colorado start, the first one back, we saw a lot of frustration on the face and in the body language of Spencer Strider because he could not put the ball where he wanted to.
And Mack rolls it over. Ozzie puts him down. So Spencer Strider got that out on the curveball. Let's take a look at tonight's Engineered to Win presented by Range Rover Sport. And CJ, the secondaries, I mean, they have been stifling.
Yep, there you go. It's exactly what we're talking about here. The slider 0 for 11. He just got another out on the curveball now, so make it, I guess, 2 for 13 is entering tonight, so it'll be a few more than that. But it's interesting, right? Because it was always about the fastball slider combination, but it's gotten a little bit deeper, and those, again, secondary pitches off the fastball have all been really good.
So now Spencer faces Javier Sanoja, batting the 9th spot.
You guys talking about Spencer's repertoire and thinking about the curveball and the usage. I know in Colorado he used it a little bit more because he felt like that was a pitch he could compete with, but I think that has given him more confidence to use a little bit more. In 2 strike counts, he's at 25% curveballs this year. It was 10% last year.
As Sanoja sends one into center, Michael Harris is back, camped, and there's 2.
And a lot of that happened in that game in Colorado. And I had wondered at the time, does that mean is the curveball actually going to be the prominent breaking pitch for Spencer Strider? But I think that was more a product of the day. 31% curveballs in that game. The last 2 now, it's been 11 and 10 since, which is probably closer to what we'll see the rest of the way here with Spencer Strider.
Xavier Edwards takes a curveball for a strike, and saw that footnote on our graphic, but 15 strikeouts in the curveball last year. For what it's worth, more than half of those came in the final 4 starts. And Edwards comes up empty on the changeup.
Well, the whiff rate on that curveball has been excellent so far this year. That's been a big part of this, I think, as well, and realizing that it is a legitimate weapon. It's a good pitch that you get from Spencer Strider.
And it's a pitch that he had in his amateur career. I mean, Spencer's talked about it. He didn't really have a slider until he got into the Braves organization. So that curveball's been good to him for a long time. Of course, that slider's also pretty good. 0-2.
So on the season as it stands right now, the most strikeouts on any single pitch for Spencer Strider is on the curveball. 7 of the 18 coming into tonight, so 7 of 20. Tonight it's been on the changeup and the four-seam fastball.
Xavier Edwards, one of 2 Marlins to reach tonight. Leadoff single in the first. Casey, of course, with the homer is the other. And he will not reach here as Spencer Strider sits him down with the slider and bounces back after that solo home run to begin the third.
Don't forget about the slider with all that curveball talk.
Look at the base side of downtown Miami. Braves with a 3-1 lead as we march to the 4th.
Look at that boat. What do you think that boat costs right there, that big one? That's absurd.
More than a number I can count to, I'll promise you that.
Saw a couple of pretty big ones today, yesterday actually on a walk. And I'm like, it's amazing. What do those people do?
What do you get in your first boat?
Never.
Never?
No.
Okay. Does Megan know that?
She's fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah. She wants her feet on the ground.
I like that. So 0-1 on Ozzie Albies.
Speaking of Megan, big official day today. Luke Nikowski graduated high school.
Oh.
And so my last child, not technically out of the house just yet, but we are getting a little bit closer now with every child with their own degree, whether it's high school or college, and beat it. Somebody said something really funny and inaccurate to me yesterday. They were like, oh, that's great. The kids are off the payroll. I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Off the payroll. Not sure that exists.
Well, you were talking about it, I guess, a couple days ago when you were eating dinner, but you guys never had a honeymoon.
No honeymoon. No, I got married in January. I got traded a few days later. And so, no, we never did anything fun.
As Ozzie lifts this one left side, Sanoha squeezes it for the first out. So does that mean you could have a later honeymoon now that the last one's out of the house?
That's a good point, Wiley. Don't say that too loud. I don't want
okay.
Megan to hear you. But yeah, probably. And we never wasn't a big vacation kid growing up. We've done a couple things lately. I like to think that counts. But I'll always feel like I owe because it snowed on our wedding day. January is not an ideal time to get married in New York. I'll have to pay for that one the rest of my life.
I think you've done all right by her, though, so far.
I appreciate you saying that. Next time, say that in front of her for sure, please.
I will. You can get that in writing if you want.
Signed by Wiley Ballard.
Dom Smith steps out. Well, we heard the thoughts of the base coaches for the Braves, Antoine Richardson and Tommy Watkins, on Dom Smith's Little League home run and the slide, or as Antoine Richardson called it, the flop.
I love the reactions from those guys today. That was a really fun piece and good sound that was captured by Nick today and showing everybody the video. But to listen to Tommy and to Antoine in particular, kind of defer to those guys like, yeah, they're probably faster than me. And I'm like, Antoine, there's no way, right? Antoine looks like he's still in good shape and looks like he could run. But I don't think they wanted to even take the chance of showing up one of their players. And they were saying all the right things today. And I appreciate that. But if I had something on the line and it's a foot race, I think I'm Antoine 1, Dom Smith 2.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
You know, part of being a coach, though, you want to instill confidence in your players.
Guys, I talked to Dom about his speed last night. And he said when he gets going, he feels like he's running fast, but then he looks at the video and it doesn't feel that fast.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling.
I don't know, though. I think I'd rather feel like that than knowing I'm maxing out and I still feel like I'm going slow.
Maybe. So it's like, as a pitcher, you feel like you make an athletic play, and then you see the highlight and you realize you look like a doofus and you're not athletic. I certainly had that one a few times.
You know, broken bat and beneath the wickets of Alcantara, and there's Lopez to make the play. There's a lot happening right there.
Certainly was, against a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Sandy Alcantara. Again, the velocity continues to hold and look pretty good. Sounded like end of the bat, and it was. And probably better off for the Marlins that Sandy Alcantara didn't touch that baseball at all. The movement on that two-seam fastball is something.
Now Austin Riley. I don't know about you, CJ, but when I think back to the Sandy Alcantara there from 2019 up until they had a 2023 with the arm injury, I primarily think of that hard sinking two-seam fastball.
Yeah, it's a weird time in the game because we went through a phase where that kind of got pushed to the side. It wasn't as respected as good of a fastball. Everyone was chasing the vert, chasing it at the top of the zone with a really good ride. But I feel like we're seeing it now kind of start to come back a little bit more for those who can throw it and throw it well. And we mention this often, but talk to a guy like Tim Hires, talk to hitters, talk to other hitting coaches, and they'll all tell you the same thing. When you're prepping for a pitcher, if he has multiple types of fastballs, it's a problem. If you have one kind, even if it's a good high vert fastball, at least you know how to attack it. But if you have a fastball that's doing different things, sinking, cutting, staying straight, that's a lot more difficult.
And Austin Riley chases the slider, and Sandy Alcantara sent down 8 in a row, but it's the Braves who lead 3-1. Mark your calendars for the Pride Ticket Package on June 4th. The Braves take on the Toronto Blue Jays at Truist Park. With the purchase of this specialty ticket package, you will receive a game ticket, access to a pregame party at the Coca-Cola Roxy, a Braves Pride Performance t-shirt, and $4 off every ticket package sold will go back to the Out Georgia Impact Fund powered by United Way of Greater Atlanta. You can visit braves.com/pride to secure your specialty ticket package today. And Spencer Strider drops a curveball in on Liam Hicks. About the efficiency so far for Spencer Strider, our statistician Ed Svita points out only one hitter has seen more than 5 pitches in a plate appearance against Spencer Strider. That was Christopher Morel, who struck out in the second.
Yeah, pretty impressive when you think about 10 hitters faced here already for Spencer Strider, which has put his pitch count in a pretty good spot, right? 38 here so far through 3+.
And I'm not saying the two are related, CJ, but I do know Spencer Strider is a pretty big Cleveland Cavaliers fan.
Oh, okay.
And game 2 starting about half an hour.
Yeah.
Just saying, you know what, if this is a quicker game, roll these guys down and try and will the Cavaliers to a even series. Although he did tell me on Monday before the series started that the Cavs had to win game 1 because on the nights in which Spencer has pitched, they have not done well in the postseason.
Okay. Interesting. There's a connection there for him as far as he's concerned.
Curveball freezes Hicks.
A lot of times when it comes to the strikeouts for Spencer Strider, we have a tendency to stay focused on swing and miss, maybe chase with the breaking ball, but now back-to-back strikeouts here looking. It was a slider last inning and a curveball this time around, and a great job by Chadwick Tromp to present that. Might have been just below the zone maybe, but Hicks didn't want to challenge it.
Lopez drives it in the air to right. Acuna racing over, and he's got it. Little over-the-shoulder grab there from Ronald Acuna Jr., and now we'll pause for a quick message from Zaxby's.
Zaxby's giant chicken finger quesadillas. Get them while you can. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
So 2 outs on 6 pitches here in the 4th. And now Kyle Stowers. We talked about it earlier, Stowers with that 25 homer season last year. Also had an OPS over 900.
You wonder if he's starting to put some pressure on himself because the chase rate has jumped for him year over year pretty considerably. The strikeout rate has actually come down. The walk rate has been fine, but he has been going after pitches outside of the zone, right? So sometimes you get off to maybe that slow start. You start thinking about your year before. Is that going to kind of launch your career and head it into a different direction. And now there's been some real struggles, and he's probably pressing here a little bit.
And he was a trade acquisition for the Marlins at the 2024 deadline from the Orioles. He and Connor Norby came over in exchange for Trevor Rogers. But like you talked about, Miami, they just haven't had that big power threat in, it feels like, nearly a decade now. And Kyle Stowers shows off some of that power. Ronald headed towards the Braves bullpen, and it is gone off the top of the wall. And it's a home run for Kyle Stowers, just his second of the season. And he cuts the Braves lead to 1.
Barely got out of here. You're going to see this slider from Spencer Strider that is kind of bottom third. But look at the back knee. Watch how far down Stowers goes to get this pitch. As if he was looking for something in the bottom of the zone. And again, just barely as it catches the top of the wall.
Let's see the reaction from Spencer there as it hit the top of the wall and bounced over the Braves bullpen into the stands. And that's now the 4th home run we've seen tonight here at Lone Depot Park, which doesn't give up as many other parks.
Yeah, 4 home runs here before we get through 4 innings is not something I would have predicted in this game against Sandy Alcantara. Not a guy that gives up very many. He had gone 5 straight starts without giving up a home run. And then coming into this game, Spencer Strider had only given up 1 home run in his first 3 starts.
Now trying to retire Marcy. Which has been hard to do, CJ. Marcy's reached in 14 of his last 20 plate appearances, dating back to Friday when he had that monster series in Tampa.
It's another guy, right? Really good last year. High expectations. I watched him. I said, this guy's really good. You love his approach. But he has not been able to repeat that success just yet.
Well, one thing that really jumped out at me looking at his numbers, CJ, was the ground ball rate this year has plummeted. His pop-up rate has gone way up.
Which is not ideal for him because of the type of player that he is with the great speed. You're not thinking about home runs. You're thinking about ball on the ground. You're thinking about line drives and turning those into base hits.
And now he's going to be thinking about that Spencer Strider slider. Braves still lead after 4. It's time for our Georgia Natural Gas Greener Life Impact player, Mike Yastrzemski. His home run right now, the difference on the scoreboard with a 3-2 lead for the Braves. And CJ, we've talked a lot about how Austin Riley started to heat up in May. How about Mike Yastrzemski?
Yeah, he's been good. Take a look at his last 16, 289 batting average, now 3 home runs. It was a great spring training. It was a slower start to the season for Yaz, but he really does seem to be kind of catching his groove right now. He's seen the baseball well, making good swing decisions.
Yeah. 3rd home run of the season for Yaz, 3rd in his last 9 games. He lofts the 0-1 down the left field line. Sanoha gives chase. Not enough room. Mike Yastrzemski was acquired by the Braves as a free agent this past offseason. Alex Anthopoulos talked a lot about what he showed in Kansas City in the second half. He slugged .550 against right-handed pitching. And that's hard to do in that ballpark.
It is. And he went on an absolute tear as a member of the Royals. And you're right, that ballpark in particular, I know they moved the fences in a little bit, but not a great home run ballpark, not an easy one to slug in, but he was on a roll.
Sandy Alcantara at 69 pitches. making his 11th start of the season. 7 of his first 10 have been quality starts. 6 runs, or beg your pardon, 6 innings, and 3 runs or less. And yeah, spoils that changeup.
It's going to be very interesting to see how teams view him because he seems like a prime trade candidate. Take a look at 70 pitches now and only 18 of those outside of the strike zone. He's got a team option next year for $21 million. Gets you deep in games, still has a live arm.
And Mike Yastrzemski ropes this one into right field. He's 2 for 2.
Did a good job of lining this two-seam fastball. This is such a great ground ball pitch for Sandy Alcantara. And you can see it there, inner third, maybe trying to go front door looking for the freeze, didn't get it. Instead, it's a Mike Yastrzemski base hit.
Ha-Seong Kim takes a called strike. Talk about Kansas City not being a ballpark you can hit a lot of home runs in. Neither is Lone Depot Park. Now in its 15th season. Marlins as a franchise in their 34th season, starting in 1993. And Walt Weiss was a member of that Marlins team. He was actually traded on the day of the expansion draft and coming off injury, trying to reestablish his value. And I had a chance to ask Walt about his memories from that first Marlins team. And he said, well, I got a story for you, Wiley. I said, okay. They open up the season at home, 3 games against the Dodgers, 3 games against the Padres. Charlie Huff beats LA on opening day in their first ever game. As Kim shoots one into center field, that'll splash in for a base hit. So after that final home game, they get ready for the first flight in Marlins history. And as they're sitting around the clubhouse packing their bags, their traveling secretary comes in, CJ, and says, okay, our flight crew has quit. So we do not have pilots. We're going to Shula's, and we'll let you know when we find a crew. So they went to Shula's, the steakhouse, and were there until late at night. Finally got a crew put together. They arrived in San Francisco when the sun was already up, and they had a 1 o'clock game for the Giants home opener. So they dropped their bags off at the hotel, did not sleep, went straight to Candlestick for the game, and lost in extra innings. Game time 3 hours and 40 minutes. And that was the first flight in Marlins history. Yeah, that's a foul ball.
That's going to be a story that will be told for a long time. So 1993, and obviously Walt was there to witness it. Just guessing, there was probably a lot of complaining from those guys. And listen, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing a director of travel or traveling secretary can do in that spot when you have a flight crew that quits. But that is absolutely wearing it for a big league ball club. Wow.
Marlins expecting a sacrifice bunt here from Trump. He squares. And Trump can't get it down. Well, here's a look at Walt Weiss back in '93 as a Marlin.
Oh, my.
You know, it's funny. We showed him that photo. He said, oh, my gosh, look how skinny I am. That was the hottest summer of my life.
Yeah, for sure. Playing in that ballpark all the way down here in Miami. It's a great picture.
Yeah, his only real objection to the uniform was the batting helmet. He said he felt he was wearing a fish tank on his head.
How about Chadwick Trump, by the way, still squaring there with 2 strikes. So Sandy Alcantara is going to be a tough guy to bunt against because throws hard, everything is moving, even his 4-seamer's got some movement to it. And that is pretty surprising to see. Trump did not look all that comfortable. He offered it a pitch, it was outside the zone in his second attempt.
And with 2 strikes, he gets it down. Morel's got 1 play. And it's a high throw, but it is handled. And the sacrifice advances Yes to third and Kim to second. Well done by Chadwick Trump.
Really well done, right? Because when you're going to do that with 2 strikes, you can't shoot edges anymore. You got to shoot to the big part of the field. You just really got to get it down. More often than not, you'd rather have this bunt go to third base, but this works because he deadens it enough, keeps it in fair territory plenty, right? Doesn't take an unnecessary chance, and now the Marlins are forced to bring the infield in.
First career sacrifice bunt for Chadwick Tromp, and now here's Ronald Acuna Jr.
The timing of this is hilarious. That just happened, that sacrifice bunt. And the reason is I think you know me now long enough. I like to stoke the fire once in a while. And so it's just, I was looking up some data for today. I was just looking at sack bunts, and I noticed that the top 7 teams in baseball and the most sacrificed bunts, 4 of those teams are in first place.
Ronald bangs it hard and up the middle. This will bring around Yastrzemski. Kim coming behind him, and it's a 2-run single for Ronald Acuna Jr., and the Braves lead is back to 3.
Doesn't happen without a great sacrifice bunt from Chadwick Tromp to put 2 guys in scoring position and then again to force the Marlins infield in. So all Ronald has to do is hit it hard somewhere, and he does. Otherwise, think about regular defense. This could have been ground ball double play, maybe an out. We'll see. Hard to say exactly, but it works out perfectly. That's a good job and an aggressive job by Walt Weiss to still call for the sacrifice bunt with 2 strikes. Risky, but it paid off.
And some of that is situational, right? You've got Chadwick Tromp in the 9 spot. You've got Ronald Acuna Jr. behind him, has great numbers against Alcantara. You feel confident about contact.
Absolutely, because there are no absolutes when it comes to those kinds of things. I completely understand why there's less bunts in the game these days. That makes sense.
And Michael Harris sends a moonshot to right field. Casey is underneath it. And there's 2 down here in the 5th.
But I'm not a believer in 0 bunts, stop bunting. There's only one team actually that hasn't bunted yet this year. It's the Detroit Tigers. They're having a hard time getting their offense going. I'm not saying that bunting's going to change everything for them, but A.J. Hinch has always been kind of against it, and I understand there's good philosophy behind it. But there are times when it makes some sense.
And ultimately, if the clubhouse has bought in on it, even more reason to do it. And Olsen tried to stop his swing there. Matt 0 for 2 tonight. Does have 4 hits in the series. And he ambushes that one just foul. Matt Olson, by the way, caught Yordan Alvarez last night for most total bases in baseball. Swings and drives one high in the air to right field. Casey on the track and now coming in. And that'll end the 5th, but the Braves tack on a pair. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Truist. Go to the bottom of the 5th. Braves leading 5-2, trying to win their 14th series of the season. Well, CJ, that has been quite a run to begin the year, and Spencer Strider going to try and do his part with a shutdown inning after the Braves stretch their lead back to 3.
Well, Spencer Strider is certainly happy to see that. And what's our delay here?
Looks like Ronald's got an issue there. Oh my, he's pointing to his left thumb there, huh?
Can you read lips in Spanish?
I can't do it in English.
No, same.
I'm just happy I can read books. This is, again, Ronald doesn't seem to be in a ton of pain, but he's quite wondering about something there with the left hand.
He's certainly animated in trying to explain what he's feeling, whether, I don't know if there's some kind of cut in there or if, I don't want to speculate, I got to be careful, right? You see him kind of shaking his hand. Is he losing feeling? It's like he wasn't moving his thumb very much during that. I don't know what it is, but certainly happy to see him going back out to right field.
Got to get the batting gloves taken care of. All right, well, good to see him staying in the game, but that was peculiar. I'm not sure Ronald knows.
I mean, it seems to be the thumb, for sure.
Well, Spencer Strider back to work.
Almost like he was looking for an explanation from the trainers of like, hey, here's what's going on with my thumb. What's the deal? Can you fix this, or what do we got? Or Ronald, he's got a lot going on right now. I think right now he's also thinking, give me a couple more pitches, please. Nobody hit the ball to me.
Yes.
He's trying to figure out what he wants to do with his batting gloves. But and they're telling him, put them in your other pocket, and he's like, they don't go in that pocket.
Still looking at it. And Christopher Morel down on 3 pitches. He strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. That's 6 punch outs for Spencer Strider.
So this is the easiest way to take a little pressure off of Ronald in right field, is just go ahead and strike some dudes out right now. And this is a good version of the Spencer Strider slider.
Now Owen Casey. He shows bunt, yanks it back. I think that might have been a little bit of a decoy.
So he homers in his last at bat. Now listen, it does happen sometimes that it's not a bad idea maybe to try to catch a team off guard. Austin Riley is playing off the bag a little bit, but I can't imagine that was a serious attempt.
Casey's ahead 2-0. One of 2 solo home runs the Marlins have hit tonight. Chadwick Tromp, by the way, first time he is working with Spencer Strider in a regular season game, given both of their lengthy time in the Braves organization. I'm certain there's been nothing else, a live BP or something like that, or a bullpen. But this is the first time they've ever competed together in the regular season as a battery.
Wow. A little bit surprising. But you're right, spring training, all those other times you get together, so he's got a feel. You also watch a lot of video as you get ready for a start if it's a guy that you have not caught very much.
And on the 60th pitch of the night, Spencer Strider gets the 2nd out in the 5th inning. That's 7 strikeouts. And Spencer has been economical.
I'll tell you what, too, this is a really big-time pitch selection. To go with the changeup in that spot for Spencer Strider. He had thrown a fastball earlier in this at-bat. I know this stuff kind of sometimes can get you to gloss over, but it was a 21-inch vertical break fastball. So that is elite level and then some. And so it had some ride, and we know that's something that he's been chasing and working on and trying to get back, and it's always been kind of the bread and butter. And so he looks up at the board, he knows, right? You see, because they have it here at the scoreboard, 21 inches, that's big time. And he didn't go back to it. You know, Casey hit the home run against a pretty good fastball, and so it was the changeup instead. So a very nice adjustment and a good pitch selection.
Would that be an example of the type of growth Spencer might have had at the end of last season? Comfort, not necessarily going to plan A?
Because, you know, he could always reach back and have 99, right? The vert's one thing, and I think that's your first choice, but also there was a little bit more velo there pre-surgery for him. I would say yes. I think it's a really good example of it. I do think with the fastball, when you have a big time, and he has had an elite fastball in his career, that it can be a little bit of an ego pitch when you got a good heater going, right? It's kind of man on man and let me blow it past you. He's getting a little bit smarter. Not that he never wasn't.
And now the count full here on Joe Mack. Spencer's allowed just 3 base runners tonight.
How about that? It's a good note there. Where he's with his fastball usage under 50% this year as he tries to go with the full count changeup. Unfortunately, couldn't land it.
So a 2-out walk, and it's time for a quick word from our friends at Delta.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
So now Javier Sanoja. And we touched on it on Monday, but Sanoja, part of the Venezuelan World Baseball Classic Championship team. In fact, he was the pinch runner there in the 9th inning, stealing second and then scoring on that Eugenio Suarez double to give Venezuela the title. And there you have it right there. Celebratory ice cream.
Speaking of,
I knew you were going there.
Wiley Ballard today. There's a pretty clear set of rules in Miami press level of what container you're allowed to use to get ice cream. And who knew that the law didn't apply to Wiley Ballard? This man does whatever he wants.
The rules are made to be broken, CJ.
Yeah, I like it. There we go. So there's the little cups to the right. And here's Mr. Wiley Ballard. That's not a clear cup, and it's certainly not the size of the cup that he's supposed to be using. That man right there is sneaking up on Wiley and saying, oh, well, if he can do it, I guess I can do it. So way to go, Wiley. You're now not only guilty, but you're an accomplice.
And Spencer Strider, little frozen ice cream there on Javier Sanoja.
Braves up 5-2 as we head to the top of the 6th inning here at Lone Depot Park. The Braves offense continues to roll a couple of more runs in the top of the 5th inning. Let's take a look at our Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Coors Light. This takes a look at multi-run innings. The Braves lead Major League Baseball with 72. The Nationals at 72, and the Yankees, Cubs, and Dodgers follow. Look at those 5 clubs, 5 of the best offenses in the game. I talked to Tim Hires about this a little bit yesterday, and he mentioned the depth of the lineup and how important it is for everybody to contribute. Everybody's done that so far. And also, when you look at this and look at the numbers, the Braves aren't necessarily relying on the home run ball, and I think that's a good thing for this offense. If you want to have a balanced offense and have depth with the lineup, you cannot rely on the home run ball all the time. The Braves at 39% is the lowest percentage of runs via the home run for a Braves team since 2018.
It's impressive, and you're absolutely right. I'm a big believer in it as well, right? It's nice to see home runs, and there's a lot of value in having the 3-run home run and what a difference that can make, especially when you have home run power throughout your lineup the way that the Braves do. But if you become dependent on it, chances are that means you're also a big swing and miss team. There's going to be more strikeouts, and sometimes it can be difficult to string together those rallies. So I think the multi-inning or multi-run innings that we have seen this year is a better indicator of the offense that you'd like to have.
And a liner smoked up the middle off of the glove of Lopez, and Dom Smith is aboard for the first time tonight.
And guys, if you remember, Walt Weiss mentioned that early on in spring training. They want to do other things than rely on the home run ball, and I think we've seen that with the quality of at bat. They've been really good with 2 strikes, kind of shortening up and making sure they move that line. And we saw it with the bunt with Chadwick Trump. If you can turn that lineup over with less than 2 outs, runners in scoring position with the top of the lineup, a good chance you're going to score a lot of runs.
Yeah, that 39% that you mentioned, Greeny, right in the middle. That is 14th in baseball as it stands right now. And for the teams that sit at the top, probably not where you want to be offensively. The White Sox, the Mariners are 1 and 2 now. The New York Yankees are a good team. They're 3rd. But you do not want to be overly dependent. And the team that is least dependent on the home run for their runs is the Milwaukee Brewers. They're having a pretty good season.
Austin Riley takes a strike. And look, I mean, we look at the postseason every year, and the teams that end up winning tend to hit the most home runs, yes. But to your point, CG, I think to have success against postseason pitching, you got to have guys who can extend at bats, spoil pitchers, and create opportunities for a mistake to be driven out of the ballpark. As Riley floats this one into right, Casey's there, 2 away.
I think especially in this day and age, because the stuff is so live, these pitchers are so good. And trying to have a little bit more of that contact, line drive, gap to gap, it's going to play over the course of 162. You'll have your big moments with your sluggers, but to your point, they're hitting mistakes more often than not.
And Mike Yastrzemski continues his big night as he shoots one into left center. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. Dom Smith's rounding third, Yaz is headed that way, and now he's caught up. Smith scores, and Yaz stayed in the rundown long enough to get Dom Smith in. So it's 6-2 Braves, and that's the third out. We go to the bottom of the sixth. And Dom Smith, he's getting his conditioning in this week here in Miami, scoring all the way from first. That double from Mike Yastrzemski.
I think maybe Dom Smith thinking right now, listen, I didn't sign up to be on the track team. I just came here to hit. Now, a couple things here. First of all, nice piece of hitting from Mike Yastrzemski, and this ball skipped and got into the gap, and you can see Dom, he's going hard, trying to score first to home. Mike Yastrzemski went from making a bad decision to making a good one. Right, thought maybe he could get the third, and instead of just trying to run and maybe have a good slide into third base, he realized he was going to be out, and then you have that quick thought of, hey, Dom Smith's running. I got to make sure I give him time to score, because if they get the Yaz before Dom Smith touches home plate, then that run does not count. So thought that was a good adjustment, a little bit aggressive on the base running, but a good adjustment from Yaz to make sure that Dom got across the plate.
We've got a change in right field. Eli White has taken over for Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald spent the fifth inning in right field, but was examining that left thumb pretty much throughout the entire inning. Something wasn't quite right with it, and after the inning ended, he went down into the Braves clubhouse with the trainers, and we'll wait for more information a little later on.
Yeah, it was really difficult to tell what was happening here with Ronald, but he kept kind of talking about it, pointing to it, kind of looking for an answer. Almost like he couldn't like close his thumb, or you could see him trying there and working hard, but something did not feel right. Hopefully, maybe just a little bit of a jam on a pitch that was in or something or whatever, or if he put his hand down, it's nothing too significant. But the Braves right now playing it safe and getting Ronald out of the game.
And Eli White checking in, supporting Mike Yastrzemski's Mustache May. Xavier Edwards led off the bottom of the first with a single, and then the only other two hits since then, home runs from Owen Casey and Kyle Stowers. But the Braves putting up 2 runs in the first inning. Michael Harris, the leadoff home run, or beg your pardon, a 2-run home run after Ronald's leadoff single. So the Braves have been in front since the jump tonight. Rolled out to Ozzie. And CJ, of course, we prefer not to have a comeback win tonight, especially with a 4-run lead here in the 6th. But the Braves, with their 17th comeback win last night, they now have a winning record in games in which they trail.
Yeah, kind of amazing to see. I think it does speak to a couple of different things. One, the offense, clearly. You got to have the offense to be able to come back, and then also the bullpen. And the bullpen holding the games when maybe you're down.
Right at Austin Riley. His toss across for the second out.
And I say the bullpen, I mean, there are times when you give up a run in the first inning and you come back and you win, and that'll count as a comeback win. So really the pitching overall, those two things don't happen if you're not hitting well, if you're not hitting well in the clutch, and you're not getting great pitching, and they've been getting great pitching.
Dylan Lee getting that sweat going.
What was Iggy working on over there? Was that
I missed it.
Was that like a tool, or was that a rake? Is he just messing around out there? Or is he getting ready to do the pole vault?
Maybe a little yard work there in the bullpen. What do we got here?
He just tucked in perfectly behind that padding. Is that a pole saw?
Just limbering up. But Spencer Strider right now through 5 2/3, and he's thrown just 80 pitches. And that's why Iggy's smiling right now. He's loving the way Spencer is pitching and the way that feels there on the shoulders.
Looks nice.
You try and get one of those back in the home booth?
No, because I have a pole saw. I can just use that instead. It looks about the same, just a little bit sharper on the end.
And Lopez unraveled there by that slider. Fourth start of the season for Spencer, looking to complete 6 innings for the second time. 1-2. Otto Lopez, Major League Baseball's hits leader. Looking for his first knock tonight. The 1-2 from Strider. And Lopez hooks this one foul out in front of the slider. So you see him foul a couple off out in front of that one. One more time, the 1-2. Ooh, look out. Little changeup, little butterfly floated up and in. Well, if there's one pitch Lopez can handle, it's been the fastball, but we'll see if Spencer tries to mix it up after some soft stuff. He does, misses low and away.
Aggressive, trying to dot that down and away, hit the corner, maybe get that called third strike. Now, mentioned he's a good fastball hitter, he's a good contact hitter. Trying to pitch almost to weak contact at this point and trying to find a spot in which pitch to do it with.
And the 9th pitch of the at-bat unravels Otto Lopez. Gives Spencer Strider 9 strikeouts.
All strikeouts are not created equal. This is a special one here on the curveball to get a guy that's really hard to strike out.
Ramirez turns to the track. She's gone.
Time to go below the surface with the Georgia Aquarium. And CJ, when you look at this graphic, I've got great news.
Yep.
The Braves don't play again on a Monday until the end of next month.
So you feel like Monday has been the issue. Certainly in this series it was after they got shut out Tuesday through Thursday. It's gone pretty well so far. It is a weird one, right? We got a lot of off days coming up, and then for us there's a national game in there, so we don't call a Monday game for a while. And nobody, and I mean nobody, likes Mondays.
Yeah, the Braves will not play another Monday game on Braves Vision until July 6th. Again, just one Monday game until then. That is a national game out in San Diego against the Padres. In the meantime, Kate Gibson's come in. And that time the curveball lands.
And that is the pitch that he has thrown the most. Now, only one game so far this year, but 44 last year for the Marlins in their bullpen, and he threw well. 2.63 ERA a year ago. No. Come on, go ahead, challenge that. I didn't like either one of those.
No.
Oof.
Also, Kim asked for some time. So Sandy Alcantara goes 6 innings. Not going to be a quality start. But he does get deep like we've talked about. He's been doing that all season long. Trying to put that curveball in the back foot. Meanwhile, Spencer Strider is at 87 pitches through 6 innings, and there is no action in the Braves bullpen.
I like it. The idea of getting him back out there for another one. So far a season high 91 pitches that he had against the Dodgers.
Kim stays alive.
And pushing into the mid-90s, seeing how it's going, right? He's got a 4-run lead right now as it stands. He could potentially get somebody up, either to start the inning with him or maybe after, if I should say not after, but if somebody were to get on.
Braves offense has been a foul ball machine so far tonight.
Started looking, so it's got to be at least 29, maybe 30 foul balls in this game for them so far.
And Ha-Seong Kim does not get a piece of that one. And he's down on the curveball. As he walks back to the dugout, let's get a quick word from Kia. First two games of this series, we saw a ton of walks, CJ. The Braves on Monday night issued 7, then Tuesday they drew 8. Only 1 walk tonight combined between both the Braves and the Marlins. And last night we didn't see a walk from either starter. And a little more crisp. And Chadwick Trump cues this one to the right side. It's deflected by Morel. And Chadwick Trump with a base hit.
Mentioned Morel has not played very much first, just a handful of games, and they have all been this year. And you take a look at the pitch there, looks like a two-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. And you can see where the second baseman is, right, playing up the middle. So you don't have a problem with Morel going after it. Laying down like a dead fish after he didn't get it, I might have a little bit of an issue with, but nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I prefer Dom Smith's starfish at home plate more than the dead fish there from Morel. But to your point, he had no experience playing first before this season, and that was the plan going into the spring. And when he was asked about it, he said he was kind of like dancing bachata, which is a dance and a music genre in Dominican culture. And I thought to myself, maybe I could play first base.
Yeah, if you can dance. You said bachata?
I believe it's bachata. And Eli White, his first plate appearance tonight after stepping in for Ronald Acuna Jr. By the way, we were told he left tonight's game as a precaution with pain in his left thumb. We'll see what Walt Weiss has to say after the game if there's any further update.
Oh,
ooh, Eli. Where's that one? And the Braves now have 2 on here in the 7th.
Another curveball. Again, we mentioned it with Gibson. You get a lot of them, and this one was overthrown and hitting the front foot, like maybe on the ankle there for Eli White. Oof.
And now Michael Harris. He has enjoyed his time in Miami. Takes a front door sweeper for a strike. Including tonight, Michael has now driven in 4 runs in this series, a couple of homers. And he chases that one.
One of the fun stories that came out of what Nick Green reported on earlier, and you guys talking about Dom Smith running and the coaches talking about it, was that we learned that Tommy Watkins very often during batting practice gets mistaken for Michael Harris, which I got to believe had to make him feel pretty good, right? Because Tommy Watkins is 20 years older than Michael. So fans confusing the two, at least during batting practice, trying to get some baseballs. Like, it's got to feel nice.
Well, Michael's down on strikes, chasing the sweeper off the plate. But I'll say this too. I mean, some of that I bet is just Tommy's energy on the field. You know, we've heard a lot of that been discussed from all the new coaches arriving to the Braves organization this year. But you know, Tommy, he gets the energy as high as anybody.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say the beard.
Yep,
helps a little bit for sure.
Called strike on Matt Olson. You've heard of Mike and Mike in the morning. How about Mike and Mike at the stretch? Lauren and Peter will be talking about Michael Harris, Mike Yastrzemski on the stretch, presented by Georgia Natural Gas.
How long has Mike and Mike in the Morning been off the air? It's been a while, hasn't it?
A few years at least. But considering I referenced Gumby yesterday,
That's
I
right.
felt
I
like
like
I was more current.
You are an old soul, Wiley Ballard. We can count on you.
That's a polite way of putting it. I appreciate that.
You got good culture to you. You know what's up.
Can I get that in writing?
Yeah, I got you.
0-2 on Olsen. And Gibson misses outside. Braves have scored in 4 of the first 6 innings tonight, looking for a run here in the 7th. That is now 34 foul balls tonight from the Braves offense.
Any idea what the season high is, Wiley? The game against the Dodgers back on May 8th.
We'll go 48.
Ooh, close. 46.
Matt Olson, that one's in fair ground, and Olay from Christopher Morel. Quite a play from the first-year first baseman. But the Braves have a 6-2 lead, and it's time for the stretch.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Service, savings, sustainability. It's that simple.
Welcome into the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. I'm Lauren Sada, that's Peter Moylan. And Pete, I wasn't sure how much offense we'd see tonight with this pitching matchup, but there's been no shortage of action.
And just quality at bats all the way up and down the lineup. Doesn't matter where you look. They're putting some really good swings. You just heard CJ say 34 foul balls already tonight. Money Mike, almost a carbon copy of the same thing he did on Tuesday. A changeup up in the zone, that doesn't belong there. So he showed it where to go. Straight into the vines out in center field. Yaz. They come in bunches. He hit his first one earlier in the month, and now he's got 3 total, putting some really good swings. Ronald Acuna, after a sac bunt from Chadwick Trump, he drives in 2, and then that's the kind of stuff that we need. Everybody in this team produces. It doesn't matter where you go. Chadwick Trump in the 9-hole tonight, lays down a sac bunt, and then gets a single later in the day, and then Yaz again driving this ball into the gap, scoring Dom Smith around from first base. He's ran more than anybody on the team in the last 2
Poor
games.
thing's probably tired.
Oh, he's getting his work in, but there's still plenty of game left, and I'm still see some more runs from these guys.
Yeah, so much fun just having so many different guys to talk about. But like you said, wouldn't mind a few more runs to add some insurance here. Well, we'll get you guys back out to Lone Depot Park for some Braves baseball after a quick message from our friends at Georgia Natural Gas.
When it comes to natural gas in Georgia, G&G leads the league. We keep it simple with great rates that save you money. We even make it easy to reduce your carbon footprint with greener life. Sign up in minutes at gng.com. It's that simple.
Well, the Braves a 6-2 lead, and Spencer Strider has been the story on the mound. 6 innings thus far, and he's not coming out. But here's a look at what he has done so far. And CJ, it's been a complete pitch mix.
He's looked really good, and he has used everything tonight. The curveball has looked really good again. The slider is always the number one. There's been some really good ride on his fastball, something that is always important to Spencer Strider. Velocity has been good. That 1 home run, like, barely got out of here as we take a look at our Toyota trend here. And Spencer Strider, strikeouts by game. This is his 4th start back, and it is now 9 strikeouts here tonight. The most strikeouts that he has had in a game since July 10th. 2025, and Wiley and I were there. It was in Sacramento.
First pitch, Kyle Stowers. It's one near the roof, and Eli can't find it. It's going to land foul in the seats.
Well, that was a little bit scary for a second. Glad that ball reached the seats. Now, it's good to know. So as an outfielder, you want to have the ability to see a fly ball, be able to run to a spot and catch it, not have to watch the ball the entire time, right? That's what good outfielders would do. You get into certain ballparks where they have roofs, and you got to be careful about that. And a place like Tampa is an example. Now that they're back in the Trop, you really can't take your eye off the ball. Minnesota used to be like that back in the day at the Metrodome. You pretty much had to track it the entire time because it was a lot more difficult to be able to run to a spot and then try to find that baseball again.
So 0-2 on Kyle Stowers. He was late on that elevated fastball. 0-2 from Strider. So 90 pitches for Spencer. How long is his leash here in this 7th inning?
Well, we got some action down in the bullpen. I felt like mid-90s. And again, depending on how the inning was going, it looked like maybe it was going to be a quick first out. Now, not necessarily turning out to be the case, as Kyle Stowers is going to see, what, at least 5 pitches.
Stowers out in front. Trump giving it a look. And we'll do it again. Spencer trying to complete 7 innings. His season high is 6. He threw 7 innings 3 times last year. Including right here at Lone Depot Park.
It was a good game. It was a tough loss. He went 7 innings, only gave up the 1. Edward Cabrera on the other end had thrown 7 shutout innings against him. And then the Marlins had hit a solo homer, went up 2-0. Drake Baldwin hit 1 in the 9th, and that game finished 2-1.
And that really kind of got Spencer on that late season roll too, CJ. I mean, from that point forward, that was on August 25th, he pitched to a .250 ERA.
And he's not showing it, but he has got to be annoyed here with how this at-bat has gone, just strictly from the pitch count.
And Stowers clubs one high in the air, deep to right. Eli White is out of room. And Kyle Stowers with his 2nd home run tonight.
Both of the home runs have come on sliders, and give some credit to Kyle Stowers. The 8th pitch of this at bat, I think Spencer Strider was trying to go back foot or kind of bury it down and in, and you can see where it sits a little bit more middle. It's down, but Chadwick Tromp was set up down and in. It looks like they're probably going to give Spencer Strider maybe one more hitter.
Yeah, Jacob Marcy drives it in the air to left. Yes, squares up. And reaches up for the first out.
I say that kind of helps to get 1 pitch, 1 out. Walt maybe will give him at least one more hitter.
Braves, of course, still in the lead, 6-3. And for Miami, CJ, even if they were to lose tonight, that's got to be a positive, getting 2 home runs from Kyle Stowers after he had really struggled to start the year.
No confidence boost for him. I guess, we don't mind Braves win this game, and we don't see the Marlins till August, so enjoy yourself until then. So you got the lefty on deck and Owen Casey. So again, does feel like this probably would be it for Spencer Strider.
Casey responsible for the other run.
The previous pitch was called a ball.
It's close, but I like it. You don't want him to fall behind 3-0 in the way he's grinding right now and trying to get through this inning.
The call is confirmed. Atlanta has 1 challenge remaining.
Is that the first challenge of the night?
It is. Well, Freck's pretty well on Austin Jones as Morrell takes the walk. It's a good sign for an umpire, though. If you get to the 7th inning, no ABS challenge. We hadn't really talked about Austin Jones behind the plate.
Yeah, he's done a good job. This is his 7th game of the year. He's been a little bit up and down, but has not seen very many challenges. He's done a pretty good job so far when he's been in the big leagues.
So Spencer Strider's night is done on an even 100 pitches. He strikes out 9, goes a season high 6 1/3. And he will leave with a 3-run lead. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, by Delta Airlines, keep climbing, and by the Georgia Lottery. Hurry and play cash for today to instantly win an extra $444 now through June 30th, only from the Georgia Lottery. Another strong start for Spencer Strider, season high 6 1/3, season high 9 strikeouts.
A little frustrated with that walk for him at the end. You know, he was trying to get through that 7th inning, but overall, really good year. Really good game. Easy to figure out. 65% strikes here this evening, but all of the stuff looked really good. The 3 solo home runs, but other than that, a really good night here for Spencer Strider.
And now Dylan Lee making his team-leading 24th appearance on the mound.
Look at those walk numbers. That is so absurd. Just 2 so far this season. None in his last 12 games. He's only allowed 1 run in his last 18 games.
And a line drive hooked into left. And the Marlins are going to get the tying run of the plate here. It's just the 5th hit Dylan Lee has given up to a left-handed hitter this year. All right, so we've got a pinch hitter, Esteury Ruiz, and we got a pinch runner as well.
So Hernandez hit for Casey.
Oh, copy. Okay.
And now you got Ruiz hitting for Mac.
So Hernandez with the base hit.
This is Marlins baseball. We talked about it at the beginning of the series. They are going to play those matchups the best they can. But with Dylan Lee, you don't mind. You don't mind at all because he is a split neutral guy. His slider, which is his best pitch, plays well against both lefties and righties.
Well, Dylan quickly ahead 0-2. And he beats Ruiz that time with the slider.
And he does it quickly there on 3 pitches. And again, it's a good version right there. Get ahead. That one probably even in the zone. And while Dylan Lee maybe didn't want it in the zone, it plays. Like he has got that good of a slider where it is not a chase pitch for him.
So Morel at second, Hernandez at first, and now Sanoja. Sanoja had a big swing, his first home run of the year, a grand slam on Monday night. And off the end of the bat, Squibber out to Ozzie. To first, and Dylan Lee strands a couple of Marlins, and the Braves will take a 3-run lead to the 8th. Well, way down yonder in the Chattahoochee, the Braves are celebrating another Georgia native with the Alan Jackson Celebration Night and Bobblehead Giveaway on August 6th. The bobblehead features Alan Jackson floating down the Chattahoochee River and none other than a Braves jersey and a cowboy hat. You can visit Braves.com/promos to snag your tickets today. And if you don't believe me, there it is. Alan Jackson.
That looks better. You have to look at us. Look how amazing that looks. That's a fun one. This is going to be a hot ticket item for sure. They said don't drop it. Precious cargo, apparently.
Now, does it come with a floatable cooler that you can bring with you down the Chattahoochee?
You're going to have to provide that one on your own.
Okay.
That's a smart idea, though. Whoever thought of that one. Good thinking.
You ever get to shoot the hooch?
No. No.
Well, you're off this weekend, right?
I am, well, off. Yes, means I'm not working games, but a lot going on.
Look out. Ozzie's been pitched in a good bit so far in this series, and that one got him. And Walt's going to come out and chat with Ozzie.
All right, let's see where this sweeper got him. Was it okay? Well, at least it was on the guard. I was concerned more about getting hit in one of his feet, right? Toe issues that he's had in the past. So it Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, doesn't mean it couldn't have done damage, but it looked like at least it caught that shin guard.
And by the way, Liam Hicks is coming to catch for Miami, as Ozzy's going to start walking up the first base line.
So you have some options here, right? Like even if it's not that bad, and hopefully it's not, because obviously Ozzy is staying in the game. You want to get him off his feet. You've got Mauricio Dubon, you have Mateo. You have some options here as far as who maybe plays defense for the last 2 innings.
Yeah, we actually saw Mateo come in last night and play the 9th to give Ozzy off his feet just a little earlier.
Especially since it looked like it caught a bone, right? That you want to maybe get some ice on it.
So we mentioned Hicks behind the plate. Kyle Stowers moves from left to right, and then Hernandez remains in the game in left. So a few changes for Miami here in the 8th.
I think Dom stays in here, right? You don't necessarily use Mauricio Dubon or Mateo right now because you're up. Give Dom an opportunity maybe to face a lefty. You knew that they were going to go to the bullpen anyway, right? There's a righty warming up for the Is there for the Marlins?
Yeah, there isn't currently.
Oh, there isn't. I'm sorry. I thought I saw you sat back down.
Yeah, we had some action earlier.
And that might have been what it was about, right? Be ready for the Dom Smith spot in the lineup in case they pinch hit, then you would come in. Now Austin Riley, of course, is on deck, and there's nobody out, so we'll see how they play it. Good news real quick on Ronald. X-rays were negative. He is day-to-day.
That is great news. Here's some other news. Our Yellowwood bringing the lumber. How about this note? Dom Smith, the first Brave, with a homer and a triple in the same game since Michael Harris at Texas last year in July.
The most impressive name on that list clearly was Marcell Ozuna. That he did it in 2023 against the Washington Nationals. The fact that it happened 3 times. And listen, these are not burners outside of Michael Harris. And Austin can run a little bit, but 3 of the guys on that list cannot run particularly well. There's things they do great in this game. Running is not one of them.
And Dom pokes one inside the third base bag and down the left field line. Ozzy's turning on the Jets, headed to third, and Dom Smith follows him. He's up to second. And now the Braves are in business here in the top of the 8th.
Good to see from Dom, left on left. This is a beautiful piece of hitting. And you're worried about that breaking ball, and instead he gets a 2-seam fastball that's away, and he just slaps it into left. And this should be a double because that throw going to third means that they were basically conceding Dom Smith going to second base. Hernandez looked up. Also good to see Ozzy running well after he got hit in that left leg.
Yeah, the Braves get a little tired here running the bases so much. So here's Austin Riley. Infield playing him.
Oh, very nice.
Tommy.
A lot of times the coaches kind of bail out. They don't want to take the chance of maybe making fools of themselves, but Tommy Watkins, very nice on the barehanded play. Oh, stop it.
Austin, by the way, entering today on pace for 26 home runs and 100 RBI this year. A 1-1 bending back towards the seats.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? His pace is what? Did you say 120 RBI?
No.
Oh.
I said 26 home runs and 100 RBI.
Wow. That's
which,
a good pace.
Again, for some of the challenges Austin had early in the season, I think that's important to point out.
100%. That's really impressive.
Still producing when it comes to putting runs on the board.
25, and I know you said 26, but for simplicity's sake, 25 and 100 after that start.
100%.
It's big time for Austin Riley. He's been great lately. And you like this matchup for him, even though it's a 2-2 count, that they left the lefty in.
And Riley chases the curveball in the dirt. And that's the first out. And it looks like the Braves are going to go to Mauricio Dubon here.
You start thinking about the history for Mauricio Dubon, what he's done against left-handed pitching in his career. The Marlins have the infield drawn in, and so you like his chances of getting at least one and maybe two across the board.
This spot has been good so far tonight. Yaz finishes 3 for 3. So Dubon coming off the bench. He had started 23 straight games until getting the day off on Sunday, and then coming off the bench tonight. With Acuna coming back and Kim coming back. Takes away a spot in the outfield and on the dirt. We got to think Mauricio's still going to get some good opportunities given what he's done in what is nearly 2 months of this season. Looking for some insurance. 1-1.
You know Mauricio Dubon is looking for action, right? Again, he's very good against lefties when he has seen them this year. Just 3.2 pitches per plate appearance against the lefties. That is a very low number. It's kind of how he operates anyway, right? He gets to usually his at-bats pretty quickly. Doesn't strike out, doesn't walk a lot.
Fights that one off. So Robert Suarez up, and so is Ronaldo Lopez if the Braves are able to bring a couple more runs home.
I think it makes some sense, right? You have what we still would call a save situation for Suarez in a 3-run lead. You get 2 more across the board. Now you're talking about 5.
Another 1-2 from Gibson. And Dubon laces it down the left field line. Couldn't keep it fair. Man, that was close.
You know what's amazing? We talk about this all the time. I always look down at the batter because he'll tell you. And Dubon didn't move. I'm like, oh, that must be fouled by 5 feet. He knew, but it wasn't that foul. I mean, he was standing in the box when that hit. That's good instinct.
You know, he's enjoyed himself this week, getting to sleep in his own bed, makes his home in the offseason here in Miami. And infield on the edge of the grass here for Miami. 1-2. And Dubon sprays it into right center. That's down. Ozzie will score. Behind him, Dom Smith using the Jets. And Dubon takes second on the throw home. 8-3 Braves.
A broken bat, but it works out well for Mauricio Dubon. Again, so good against lefties, and they're trying to go up and away with the breaking ball. That is not something that you would see very often with intent. And there goes Tommy Watkins racing again here with Ozzie, and then almost busted it. It looked like maybe he was going to hold Dom Smith up. You can see how frustrated he is with himself, but Dom Smith using his instincts and doing a good job. We'll get Tommy on the jump rope tomorrow, get those feet moving a little bit quicker.
Feel good about the hands, though, with that play made on the foul ball. Ah-Sung Kim takes outside. We've now seen Dom Smith in the last 2 nights score from second, from third, and went home to home. All on balls that did not leave the park.
Wasn't he at first base when Yes hit the double?
What did I say, third? I meant first.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry. First to home, second to home, and home to home. I don't think he's done third to home yet. He might prefer that next time.
Yeah, that's right. Sign him up for one of those one time. A little bit easier.
So the Braves have now scored in 5 of 8 innings tonight, and all 3 times they've gotten the leadoff man on, he has come around to score. And that one sails to the backstop. Dubon down to third. Friendly ricochet for the Marlins, and Hicks throws him out. So Noha with the tag. Braves want to take a look at it in their replay review room, and they will not challenge.
That's a bad break, and you don't mind Mauricio going there at all. You see a pitch like this, and you feel like you're going to have it pretty easily. But how about that kickback to Liam Hicks? That's a good throw, too, as he has to turn, doesn't have a lot of time to think about it. Mauricio Dubon trying to go to the outside part of the bag. My goodness, what a bounce off the wall there to go right back to Hicks.
Oh, my. Kim challenges it. This one was close.
Previous pitch was called a strike. The batter is
that was a ball.
challenging.
We'll see. It looked like it was up and away. There was a pitch earlier last at bat to Kim that he didn't challenge. I think he's going to win it. Yeah. Oh, closer than I thought, though. Wow.
The pitch is the ball. Atlanta has 1 challenge remaining.
I don't know, CJ. You got a good pulse on that. 0.2 of an inch.
When you watch it live, it definitely looked further away from the strike zone, and that's what we have to be careful about.
And now Chadwick Tromp, Braves with 12 hits today, by the way.
This guy can flat out spin it, man. We talk about spin rate all those years that Pierce Johnson was here and how he could sit right around 3,000. That last one was 3,200 RPMs on the spin rate.
There goes Kim. And he swipes second. And might be in a little bit of pain. He went feet first into the bag.
Which usually feels like that's the safer route. I don't know if it was on the tag. We'll see kind of leaning in and maybe trying to deceive Gibson. Peeks in, gets there. I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
Well, the good news in all this as well is it should have given Ronaldo Lopez plenty of time to warm up. Right, part of what we see with Lopez, of course, and it's been a couple of weeks now, but you know, as a former starter, yes, he knows how to operate in the bullpen, but you also want him to get a little bit more time whenever you can afford to give it to him. Well, Suarez is still standing there. That tells me he's in this game.
Okay.
Because now it could be about Lopez getting ready also. If Lopez has enough time, then they can tell Suarez to sit down, but he may not be there yet.
Chadwick drop, extending his at bat here. Gibson 50 pitches here in this relief appearance. He came on in the 7th. (3-2). And Tromp takes call, strike 3. He knew it. But the Braves add 2 runs. And who says all the actions between the lines? How about Tommy Watkins? Sniper.
Care of the big stuff. Find your appliance answers now at the.
Just a little after 9 o'clock here in Miami. Braves trying to win this 4-game series, up 8-3. It'll be Comcast Business time for our defensive edge. And it is Robert Suarez.
What a year he has had. The back end of this bullpen has just been phenomenal for the Atlanta Braves, and Robert Suarez has been in the middle of all of it with that 0.44 ERA, 4-seam fastball, changeup, cutter, and 2-seamer. You can see those splits there, the domination of the lefties. A lot of that has to do with the great changeup. They're hitting just .059 against this changeup, .053 against this fastball.
And first pitch swinging, a roller out to Kim. And with pace, he gets Xavier Edwards to begin the bottom of the 8th. Mauricio Dubon has come into play left after pinch hitting for Yastrzemski, so that's a straight up change. And now Liam Hicks.
So I would assume if things stay the way that they are based on the action that we saw in the bullpen there, that perhaps Lopez would throw the 9th inning. It felt like, again, we're guessing. We never know what's going on. It could be someone just getting work down there. But felt like they were hoping to get Lopez ready for the 8th inning. You know, this one plus now 3 more straight when the Braves get home to take on the Washington Nationals before you get to that off day on Monday.
And then things, as we touched on earlier, ought to get a little easier for the Braves. A few more off days sprinkled in the month of June than what the Braves had to contend with here in May. And more importantly, they're spread out, right? I mean, you had a couple early off days in May that were, you know, bookending that series against the Dodgers. But speaking of the Braves bullpen, CJ, I mean, I don't think it's too early to talk about what a bullpen needs to look like come October, and the Braves already have a lot of pieces you like. The pitch is outside.
Bullpen runs deep, no doubt. I think everybody, regardless how good your bullpen looks as you get deeper in the season, even if you have health, you'll always look to improve it.
And Hicks taps this one back to the mound. A problem for Suarez. He's got the first 2.
So that conversation will happen. It's probably already happening in front offices. You start taking a look around the league. You look at some of the teams that are struggling, that are likely not going to be postseason teams. What do they have for relievers who maybe are potential free agents? We know last year for Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves, any moves that they had talked about really had to be more about not just last year but beyond. And that made sense based on the state of the club. This year could be a little bit different. Are there some rentals that might be available? And who knows? We've got a lot of time to go before you get there. And even though the bullpen is a strength, it's just one of those areas that if you can improve it without, you know, going crazy on trade, you'll take it all day long. Walt certainly would. Provides you protection over those last couple of months as well, in case anybody gets hurt.
And you go back to that deadline last year, CG. I mean, 2 things jump out to me. One, bringing in Tyler Kinley, who you wind up keeping. And I know he's had a few home runs here lately, but still been one of the Braves' top options out of the pen. And also keeping Raisel Iglesias inside the organization. I mean, I'll be honest with you, CJ. If another team trades for him and he's pitching for them for 2 months, all of a sudden they might be a little more motivated to keep their hands on him. And what a great start he's gotten off to.
The story at the time last year, because I'm with you, was like, man, there's great opportunity potentially here for Raisel Iglesias and what a return might look like. But it was like, hey, we're not in the business of giving guys away. We're not trying to save money. We love Raisel Iglesias, and somebody wants to make a fair offer, sure. But the impression that we got is that that was not out there.
And the Braves went on a 10-game win streak in September, and I know that didn't affect the playoff seeding. As Robert Suarez punches out Lopez, second strikeout for Lopez. We go to the 9th. Braves in line for a win. Braves come back home tomorrow night to begin a 3-game series with the Nationals, and it is the double nickel. Bryce Elder on the mound. One of the Braves' co-aces with an ERA just over 2. And here's a look at our Truist leaderboard. That is good company in the National League.
Certainly is. Some new names that are on that list with Chase Burns in Cincinnati. Jacob Mizorowski has been dealing, and our guy, Bryce Elder, Big Texas, as he is known on the internet, with his 2.01 ERA.
So he will be on the bump for, what is tomorrow?
That's a great question. It's the Friday Night Showdown, Wiley. You knew that.
I do now.
Yeah.
But for Bryce, by the way, the Friday Night Showdown is presented by Kaiser Permanente, of course. Eli White leading off here. And Pete Fairbanks getting some work. Hadn't pitched in a while. He's the closer for Miami, but trying to get him in the game. But so you're saying Bryce Elder, he celebrated his birthday a couple of days ago. So tomorrow will be his first start as a 27-year-old.
So put Pete Fairbanks on my list of kind of names that we were just talking about and potential arms that are available. I know he's not off to a great start. 10 innings. It's a 9 ERA, but this is a live arm. Sits at 97 miles an hour. He's always been a good strikeout pitcher. He is this year. 33% strikeout rate for him. He's had 3 games, though, this year in which he has given up 3 runs. So he's had a couple that have gotten away from him, including back-to-back games in April where he had given up 6. One of those, they let him start the game. I believe it was in New York against the Yankees, so that he could get home in time for the birth of a child. And so he started the game through the first inning, gave up 3 runs, and then left.
It's got to be a whirlwind of a day.
Now the Marlins did come back to win that game 7-6, so maybe not feeling guilty about it. And then he gave up 3 the next night. He didn't pitch for 9 days after that. Gave up 3 again, and then gave up 3 back on the 27th. So I think he had a little IL stint in there, if I'm not mistaken, because he's only pitched once so far in May. I say all that to say keep an eye on this arm, because for me this is one that will be talked about at the deadline.
Yeah, he had a thumb issue. He got reinstated last week. He's made just 1 appearance, as you said, and it was a blown save. Although he beats Eli White that time with the 98-mile-an-hour fastball. But the Braves offense, the final 3 games of this series, has come to play. They've scored 8 runs at least the last 3 days and have 10 or more hits in each of the last 3 games. And Michael Harris got it started with a 2-run homer in the first.
It's something you'll also notice here with Pete Fairbanks, perhaps maybe the shortest arm swing in baseball, in the way that the hand comes out of the glove and really doesn't go down at all. You'll see some guys that go to the ear that are pretty short, but when you watch Pete Fairbanks, it is extremely deceptive.
Yeah, he's part of that Tampa Bay team there in the early 2020s. They talked a lot about having all sorts of different arm angles sort of around the clock.
Different looks.
And Michael goes after the slider. It's the Braves taking on the Nationals this coming weekend. And then hit the road again to go to Boston and then Cincinnati.
Odd that we have Monday off too, because it's a holiday, right? Rare that you get a holiday off during the summer, but no Braves baseball on Memorial Day.
Dylan Dodd is up.
That's interesting. Is there TV choppy, or is that just the way it plays through the camera? See that?
I don't know the answer to that. But I did see what you were talking about.
And they're certainly in a delay, right? They get a delayed feed, of course. No concerns about what you have with ABS and a big part of the in-game monitors. But
yeah, that's the Marlins telecast.
Ah, it's that 1K.
Michael Harris clowers one deep to center. Marcy's racing back. He's at the wall, and it's gone. For the second time tonight, Michael Harris goes big fly.
We may have a hard time getting Michael Harris to get on that airplane after this game, because he has been going off here in Miami. Fastball straight, 98 miles an hour, but on time here for Michael. After he had chased that slider that was pretty far below the zone, he gets one in the zone that he can handle. It smiles all the way around for Big Mike.
And those 3 ball flights, CJ, I mean, You know, they haven't been jumbo jets. Those have been fighter planes, just going low liners, all three of them to center field. So the Braves have now hit 3 home runs tonight. And for Michael Harris, that gives him 11 on the year. Is that Scooby-Doo? Yeah, I think so.
Can't tell. What's all the green, though, then?
I think that might have been the monster.
Oh.
Looked like Scooby-Doo. I thought Shaggy was, well, no.
Let me just, if you wouldn't mind looking to your left real quick, Michael, we'd appreciate that.
Who's your favorite Scooby-Doo character?
Ooh, good question. Probably Scooby-Doo.
You didn't like Scrappy-Doo?
No. Nope.
Yeah, there we go.
Who's
There's Shaggy. It's Scooby. Velma or Daphne?
Yeah. Daphne.
I guess Daphne's the brighter red hair. Velma's kind of got that.
Wait, I thought Daphne
Auburn
had dark
going on.
hair with glasses?
No, that's Velma.
Oh, okay. So then Daphne.
Pete Fairbanks. 16 pitches, and again, it's like you said, CJ, it's been a bit of a bumpy ride for him so far in Miami.
He had a great year last year in Tampa, too, and they did not exercise the option that they had on him. It was a 2.83 ERA in 61 games.
And Matt Olson on top of this one. Out to Lopez. And there's the second out here in the ninth. So Ozzie Albies, good to see him still in the game after taking that hit by pitch. Now going to bat from the left side. Braves are 34-16. That's their best start in the first 50 games since 2003. And well on their way to win number 35. And their 14th series win. And their second series win of the year over the Marlins. Again, the Braves have not lost the season series to the Marlins since 2015. And Ozzie late on the fastball. But Michael Harris, for the second time tonight, CJ, goes dead center.
It's a big one for Michael, and it's been a big series. Great night for him, and we look forward to the Braves finishing things up. Let's get on that.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Comcast Business. All-in connection and protection your small business can rely on. No one does business like Comcast Business. By Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. And by Alpha Insurance, your winning lineup for auto, home, life, and health. Bottom of the ninth here in Miami. The Braves 3 outs away from taking 3 of 4 against the Marlins and having a happy flight back to Atlanta. And Dylan Dodd's the man charged with closing the door.
Just his third appearance this year. You can see the numbers there. Last year, we really started to see a good version of Dylan Dodd and getting comfortable in the bullpen. It was 28 games for him, 3.6 ERA, good strikeout rate, excellent walk rate for him. You can see just one so far this year, but last year in those 35 innings, he was under 4%. So he fills up the zone. He does it with the cutter, four-seam fastball, slider. We've got a good left-on-left matchup here against Kyle Stowers, who's homered in his last 2 plate appearances.
And he tried to make it 3 for 3. Dylan Dodd gets him chasing the slider. For Dodd, this is his first appearance since back on April 21st, so it's been a full calendar month. At the big league level, of course, he pitched some in Gwinnett on rehab after battling left thoracic spine inflammation. Which doesn't sound fun.
No. So a couple sliders here out of the chute, which will be interesting to watch. One of the issues for Dylan Dodd is that he had reverse splits. Go back again and kind of look at last year and compare with a couple of games this year. Where the righties have only hit 152. He's dominated them. A lot of that has to do with the cutter. The lefties, though, higher batting average, high OPS, strikeout rate drops. For me, that's the kind of final piece of the puzzle for Dylan Dodd. You know he's going to throw strikes. He knows how to get some swing and miss, but it's about being a little bit better against lefties, evening out those splits a little bit. And then you feel like you could put him in some higher level leverage situations if you need to.
And 2-2 now on Stowers. Remember talking to Dylan last year about that cutter, and you know, CJ, he's not a guy who's got the gift to spin the baseball. We talked about Cade Gibson earlier in that breaking ball getting well over 3,000. For Dylan, it's closer to 2,200. And he gets Stowers that time on the sinker elevated, and Dylan Dodd gets his night started right.
Well, you like seeing that, and you like that combination, right? Have some balls that are going away, both the slider and the cutter, and then go at it with a fastball. It's got maybe a little bit of movement to come back, but in a good spot, elevated to get by Stowers at 95. And maybe that's the key against the lefties, pitching them a little bit backwards.
There's another chance here against Marcy. So far, plenty of swing and miss here from Dodd. Well, the week began a little inauspiciously with that 12-0 loss.
Called a ball. The catcher is challenging.
On Monday, we'll see if Trompy can steal one here for Dodd.
He's got that look on his face like he knows it's probably outside.
The call's confirmed. Atlanta is out of challenges.
But since then, we mentioned the offense has come through for the Braves. Martin Perez found a way to give you 5. Sale goes 7 last night. Spencer works into the 7th tonight. Hit sharply out to Olsen. Take it himself. And there's 2 down here in the 9th. Looks like it's going to be another successful road trip for Atlanta, albeit a brief one. Can we call this a road trip? Tough play. Riley's got it. Foul ground. Will put it in his pocket. So Christopher Morel keeps this one going.
Well, Austin Riley got there, and you're right, made a really nice play. The dive and slide, but that long slide, I think he knew, and the exchange wasn't as clean. He was not going to be able to get up and get much on a throw.
So now Heriberto Hernandez. Pinch hit in the 7th, came through with a base hit. And 0-2 on Hernandez. Saw some comeback wins the last couple of nights. Tonight, the Braves have led from wire to wire. Michael Harris, a 2-run homer in the 1st. Braves scored in 6 of 9 innings tonight. In the last run, a solo home run from Michael Harris. And with one more strike, Braves will push their lead in the National League East to 9.5 games over the Phillies. One, two. Got him. And the Braves take 3 of 4 in Miami. They've won another series. And they are now 35-16.
What a great comeback series-wide, right? As you see the MLB best now 35th win here for the Braves. To drop the first one, 4-game series, go ahead and come and get the next 3 the way that they did. We saw the offense come alive over those final 3 games, including some impressive home runs from multiple players throughout that lineup. And the bullpen, the starting rotation, all solid, the defense as well. But this was a fun one. Spencer Strider, as you mentioned, pitching into the 7th inning, has 3 good ones in a row. Yeah, there were a couple of home runs tonight, but everything else was really good for Spencer Strider, and just another nice series win for the Atlanta Braves.
So Braves get the win 9-3. We'll be back to Miami in just a moment to wrap it up.